Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm Jeff Bache, all about that Bache, and here we are all about the Gym Leader Challenge format. If that's something you're interested, here are a couple of rules for you to check out. Number one, it's a singleton format, which means you're only allowed to play one copy of a card with the same name, except to basic energy, of course. It's a monotype format, so you pick your favorite type and you build your deck with Pokemon of that type. And the last rule here, which is the most important rule, is no of those rules box Pokemon are allowed. That means no EX, GX, V-Star, Star, whatever the deal is, rules box Pokemon, get them out of here. Keep those in standard. Gym Leader Challenge is not about that. Thanks for finding your way to this video, and if you'd like to support the content, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Enjoy. Today I'm going to be profiling one of the hardest hitting and fastest decks in all of GLC, and that's the Fighting HitmonBros deck. The deck gets its name from a trio of Pokemon from the Team Up series. You have Hitmonchan, whose hit and run ability starts off your combo, 30 damage, and switches out. Next up on deck is Hitmonlee, whose special combo ability only works if you used Hitmonchan's attack previously. For 1 energy, it does 90 damage to any bench Pokemon, which is really key to taking out a lot of the support Pokemon in the GLC meta. And last up is Hitmontop, whose appropriately named attack finishing combo does 60 damage to everything for 1 fighting energy, considering you used Hitmonlee's special combo attack earlier. Pulling off this combo will leave your opponent's board state in utter disarray. A second run through the combo will all but assure victory. While the bros can win any game on their own, there are times when they'll need some help. Here are some key mons you can pair them with. Flying Entry Hawlucha puts 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Comes in handy when you need to hit those 70 HP Pokemon with Hitmonlee's finishing combo. Hawlucha can set up double prize turns, and it's one of the most important cards in the deck. Next up is Machoke, and we have to talk about its Daunting Pose ability, which is basically super bench barrier. It prevents all damage and damage counters to your bench Pokemon, which is very important as you're trying to protect your key pieces during the game. Daunting Pose Machoke evolves into Crisis Muscles Machamp, which if your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, gets an extra 150 HP. Its attack, also for the cost of 2 fighting energy, does 100 with the potential up to 200 at the cost of not allowing you to attack the next turn. This card can be a beast in the late game, tanking attacks and dealing out damage to finish out those games that the bros just couldn't. Last card we're going to talk about in our Pokemon lineup is Lucario with the Avenging Knuckle attack. For 1 energy, it can do up to 150 damage if one of your fighting Pokemon was knocked out from damage during the previous turn. This card can be super useful when your combo has been interrupted by your opponent, or if you're just looking to take a knockout after your Hitmontop has been KO'd. To sum it all up here, the HitmonBros have some of the strongest Pokemon in all of GLC. They're cheap, efficient attackers that can put out a ton of damage. The only downside to playing Hitmonbros is that fighting lacks any true support Pokemon. If fighting were to get even 1 decent draw supporter, I feel like it would jump to the top of the tier list. Since the fighting type lacks any real support Pokemon, the training cards have to carry a heavy load. Here's a look at some of the important items, stadiums, tools, and supporters that make up this deck. HitmonBros is a tempo deck, and therefore requires having the right card at the right moment. For this reason, the deck relies heavily on search-based supporters. Karina is a phenomenal card, searching for a fighting Pokemon and any item. Arven plays a similar role by grabbing an item and a tool. Teammates and Raihan are both conditional, needing a Pokemon to have been KO to be online. Both cards are often playable, as your bros are unlikely to survive an attack. There's nothing more aggravating to a spread player than a bench barrier, and this deck is designed to fight that. Here's some of the key cards to help you fight those pesky Mews and Manaphy's out there. Besides gusting and KOing, this deck's main way to fight bench barriers is the card Silent Lab. Silent Lab turns off all basic Pokemon's ability in play, which deals with Mews and Manaphy's bench barrier abilities, allowing your Hitmonlees and your Hitmontops to do damage to the bench. Since Silent Lab is such an important card to find, we're playing a card like Stadium Nav, which lets us flip 2 coins, and for each heads we can go and search 1. Stadium Nav works great with our search-based supporters like Arven and Karina, which let us go get items, not stadiums. Silent Lab is going to be a target for your opponents to bump.
That's why we're playing the card Lusamine, which allows us to get any combination of 2 supporters or stadium cards from our discard pile back to our hand. This card is super important and allows us to reuse Silent Lab once or twice per game. Since your opponent will think that they are safe, a surprise Lusamine can often be game winning. Paradox Rift has changed what this format looks like, and it's also changed kind of the makeup of the HitmonBros deck. The printing of Blindside has proven to be an important key to what this deck is trying to do going forward. Blindside is a technical machine that does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. When you pair this with Delta Trait Medicham that can attack twice due to its Barrage ability, you end up with a combo that can finish games quickly to devastating effect. That's it for this quick rundown of the Fighting HitmonBros in the Gym Leader Challenge format. If you love Flying Fist and a tempo-based playstyle, then make sure to check this one out.